Happy Memorial Day, everybody. I'm excited to be in my new zone. I ordered this cute desk, and Jeff, you got me this new, I don't know what you call that, a microphone mount? I don't know, but it makes me feel extra official. And it's just, I was at my desk, and it just feels more free to kind of be sitting out in the open of our big, beautiful office space that we love. And I'm wanting to bring in more people and do some interviews. And so we're just having fun experimenting and playing. And here we are on Memorial Day doing this before we go out in our adventures, which I don't even know what those are going to be. So last weekend we realized it was our 6th year of scouting hangout. Honestly, it was really fantastic for a couple of reasons, but my most favorite was that it was unusually nice, not too hot weather. Jeff loves the super hot. I'm not really into it, so it was nice to have it be, it was just beautiful. And we had an awesome 3 days. This time we had 2 people traveling with us. Number one, our most incredible assistant slash, I don't even know how to put a title on Sarah. Sarah Bross was with us, and a young budding photographer who we think is just really awesome. Chloe was traveling with us too. So it was great because we could kind of do team scouting, which was great, which also included when it was too crazy, we could go, will you guys go in there in all the madness of during the performances, it can get kind of crazy. So anyway, it was a very successful trip. We had a great time. We came home and we were exhausted, which is not unusual. And I, in the process, finished 2 books that I absolutely love. I usually am reading at least 2 books at a time to one degree or another. And then I have like my morning kind of devotional kind of book reading that I do. But I read 2 really incredible books that were more business driven. And then I was watching something yesterday, and it's so weird. I honestly can't remember what it was, but they said something and it stopped me in my tracks to the point of where I had to write it down because it's the perfect topic coming off of something like Hangout, and that is the joy that awaits outside of your bubble. We spend our whole life intentionally stepping outside of the bubble of where we live, our office setting. We put ourselves in situations to meet people. And what's been really amazing, and what I think is becoming almost like a life's purpose, is that we realize it's not just for models and the modeling world. It's beyond that. There's a purpose that's greater than that. And you start to really have an impact how you just navigate in your life, what your expectations are. And the joy that awaits outside of your bubble means new friendships, new ventures, new different kinds of people. I was really excited because we found some great people at Hangout. We also met just people in passing, which is always really fun. I love the people there. They're just warm and friendly, and so that was really cool. But we've met one girl in particular who's from Louisiana, and she's done with school and was kind of finding her way. She actually was in the Marines and went through boot camp. For medical reasons, she wasn't able to move on, but it was really cool and fascinating to hear her perspective of why she entered into boot camp, what she gained from that. I'm like, wow, it's just fascinating and interesting to meet somebody who, everybody has a story. And we were like, okay, let's figure out a time that you can come and meet with us, probably sooner than later. And her and her boyfriend were gonna be on a camping trip in Arkansas. So literally Saturday, they came and met with us, and I was sitting there getting to know her more, hearing her story, and I had that moment where I'm like, I didn't know you a week ago, and now here you are sitting across from me, sharing a lot about your life. We're very excited about her, and before we leave for almost every scouting trip, Jeff will say the same thing, and then he'll say it again every day on the way before we go. In this case, to the hangout, he was like, whose life can we change today? And to have that on the forefront of your day, it really kind of gives you a mental image or a mental place of how you go out into the world that I think would be really wonderful for all of us to think, not just in terms of discovering models. So when we were there, we had this little break. We came back to our hotel, and I've been wanting to watch Brené Brown. I've been hearing all about her Netflix special, The Call to Courage. If you haven't watched it, take an hour and a half and watch it. And honestly, I thought that Jeff would not be into it at all, but I was like, do you care if I'm gonna watch this? If we're just gonna relax for a little bit? He was like, yeah. Well, we both were so inspired by what she talked about. She talked about the importance of being vulnerable. She talked about being courageous and doing things for the sake of doing them. And just one story after the next that I felt is so in alignment with how we think and what we do, and that when we come into somebody's life, like this young woman, she's 21 years old, she's from Louisiana, she's never met us before. It was a chance encounter. She was kind of moving kind of quickly out of the show that was just getting ready to start, and I saw her and I made a beeline towards her. And I love that in that instant, there was an opportunity for her to be vulnerable. There was an opportunity for her to look at the possibility of something that she hadn't even been thinking about. Now, she'd done a little local modeling in her town, but it wasn't like she was thinking, this is what I'm gonna go and have as a career. So I loved her openness. I loved that she knows that the joy of life can await outside of her bubble. I love that she reached out to us and said, you know what, I'm gonna be in Arkansas. It's only 3.5 hours from where I'm going to be to come to you. Would it be good for me to come on Saturday? And literally a week from the day that we found her, we were like, yes. And that she got in the car and they made the drive. And you know, that kind of not talking yourself out of things is what it takes to achieve great things. It was funny because I was sitting and talking to her boyfriend, and somehow we got on the topic of Kutcher, and I shared with them, you know, when I scouted him, I remember very clearly his dad Larry saying to me, yes, he can go, you know, model over the summer, but he has to get back here by, there was a hard date. I think it was like August something. And he said, because he needs to get back at General Mills for his job, because he's not going to be in another position to make that kind of money. And obviously he didn't come back to the job. But even Kutcher's ability to think outside the box, not worry about what is everyone going to think if I don't go back to college or if I try this crazy thing. I love that kind of being open to something that's outside of what you were already thinking about. Because, and probably why I'm so passionate about it is because I've seen so many times people who talk themselves out of it, even if they want to do it, because of other people's opinions and reasons why they shouldn't. And that can be a parent, that can be a neighbor, a friend, or my boyfriend's going to college, so I want to go with him, or whatever it is. I have always thought there's something really inspiring to do something that you hadn't even thought about, or to be open to it, or to go, even though I was going down this path, now this opportunity has come, maybe at the very least I should consider it. I talk a lot about CBS Sunday Morning because I love it, it's so great. And we had several that we had recorded on our DVR that we hadn't watched, and I realized that there was one where Jane Pauley did the entire CBS Sunday Morning from Florence, Italy, and Jeff and I have been thinking about our 20th anniversary and where do we want to go, and we keep coming back to Italy, maybe Tuscany or whatever, and I said, let's watch this tonight. So last night we watched some really great interviews and stories just all around Italy that were wonderful. But one involved an author, her name is Frances Mays, and she wrote the book Under the Tuscan Sun. And she was just a fascinating woman. I loved her sense of adventure and where it led her. And she had a quote that she shared that I completely related to, and this is what it was. You never expected to have what happened happen. Isn't that great? Isn't that great not to be able to expect? Because if you can expect and predict it, it's not that much fun. I love the unpredictability of the modeling world and what we do. We could get in the car and go and drive 17 hours or do the Nashville, go to Birmingham, do the Hangout Fest and not find anybody. And that's okay too. Or we can talk to a model and things can be feeling like they're a little slow, and Jeff will be like, maybe we should, move this model to another market, and then we'll get the unexpected where, oh my gosh, there's an option for this model to shoot this Vogue editorial in this country on this day, and it feels like it comes in an instant, even though we've been kind of moving towards it. But I love that we live in a world and in a business where the unexpected can come. And there can also be those lulls in time where the challenge then is to keep that person encouraged, and that isn't it beautiful that you can not predict but have an idea. Or just like Kutcher, he didn't know he was going to get that 70 show, and it was literally like 9-10 months after I found him. But what if 12 months previous or 10 months previous, he would have went, I don't know, this is a little bit outside of my comfort zone, it makes me a little nervous, I'm not gonna do that. I always think of that side of the coin too. What are you dismissing? And the very same things can be happening in your life, where maybe you're overthinking or needing things to be so certain. Quite frankly, I don't want to know. I like not knowing. I like that the joy awaits outside the bubble of my knowing. I like that crazy things can happen on a dime. I love Gary Vee. If you don't follow Gary Vee on Instagram, I can't encourage you enough. Please, please, please. There's a lot of F-bombs. Just don't let that bother you. But his truth, he speaks so much truth about the reality of going for things and not limiting yourself. And he's very direct, and I like very direct. And I was watching one the other day, and he literally was having this conversation with somebody who, this guy wanted to be a content producer. He wanted to be out kind of doing what so many business people do today, and what Gary Vee has in his life. Two guys that follow and document what he's doing and create this amazing content. And this guy, this was his dream. This is what he wanted to do. But he had every reason and excuse that he kept saying over and over of why he wasn't doing it. And Gary Vee would come back and go, well, what about this? Well, my mom tells me I'm crazy. Well, don't listen to her. I mean, this was an adult, so maybe you should move out of your mother's home and do what you want to do. And it kept coming back to the reality that what was happening in this guy's life was fear. Fear was holding him back from trying. And we see that. I can't tell you how many times I've seen fear of not doing well, or what somebody else is thinking, or somebody voices, well, how are you going to do that? You think you're going to go be a professional model and make a living out of that and blah, 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 blah. First of all, always consider the source, because 9 times out of 10, those kind of people that think that way aren't doing anything exciting and adventurous with their life. But I love that he kept coming back to, but what are you afraid of? But what are you afraid of? And that's why I love that a girl from Louisiana will drive here to meet with us. That's why I love going out and really thinking, whose life can we change today? And really believing that that can happen. Life is meant to be an adventure. The joy absolutely awaits outside of whatever the bubble that you're in. We all can create them. There's times where Jeff and I have to go snap out of it. We need to push ourselves and move into new circles. Even moving down here 2 years ago has opened up a whole new world to us that we absolutely love. So my encouragement to you is this week, look at what bubble you're limiting yourself to. Is it a circle of friends? Is it a way that you're thinking? Is it a physical place where you're at? Wherever it is, I promise you, the more that you push outside of that, the more it's going to lead you to even greater things. And I just encourage you to do it. It's a very fun, adventurous way to not be in a position where you're able to expect, but you can expect a surprise. I hope that you have a great Memorial Day. I hope that this is encouraging to you. And by the way, every time you guys make a comment or you come up to us someplace and say that you watch or listen, it really does mean a lot to us. Make it a great day, and I will talk to you next Monday.